Hey there, I'm Alec, and I've just got a few things on my mind that I want to say. So, if you haven't heard, there's this thing going around. It's called the coronavirus. It's got all of us at home. I want to get out of here. You probably want to get out of your house. Maybe you're shut in. I don't know. Either way, it sucks not having that freedom. But it's really got me thinking a lot. You see, I have a few independent projects that I'm doing that involve my writing, and a few other altruistic, I guess you could call it, pursuits that I'm going for right now. And I saw school as a huge hindrance to progressing towards that, which it was. Every day after school, I'd spend a few hours. Monday, I'd go to a place known as Providence. Tuesdays, I make it a point to strengthen relationships with people who are close to me. Make sure I can still see them after high school and things like that. Wednesday, writing. Thursday, mentoring sessions. There's a man I know named Nick. I see him Thursdays. Eventually, I got taxed enough that just before the quarantine I wasn't able to. And Friday, my day off. See, I had a 6-hour block, 7 hours of school every single day. Huge hindrance to what I was trying to do. And now that's gone. Now I can work from home. I can do all those same things that I did going out at home. And I would have thought that would have been heaven. I would have thought, I'm going to get so much work done when this starts. And you know what happened? I've been sitting on my ass the past 3 weeks watching anime. And so have you. That's not to say it's a bad thing. That's to be expected. In fact, right now I'm sitting here recording this video when I should be writing that textbook. My friend who I'm working it on with is going to be kind of upset. Listen, this pandemic that's going on right now, it's worldwide. I'm a hypocrite for telling you this. But you've got a huge opportunity on your hands. You can do whatever the fuck you want right now, and no one's going to stand in your way. Maybe you got online classes. Turn your mic and camera off. You can do this still. I hate to sound like a motivational speaker, because those guys really annoy me. Or someone who comes to your school and tells you to have more self-esteem. Those guys tend to be pretty useless. See, they have a pretty good point on their hands. See, you've probably heard this before. You are an individual who's got value. See, you're you, but not to insult you, you're not valuable at the moment, and neither am I. Everyone has the potential to do something that makes them notable. The only thing that might be standing in the way of that is you. You were, say, 5, 6, 7 years old. They ask you, what do you want to be when you grow up? You say, I want to be an astronaut. I want to star in movies. Maybe that's carried over into now, which is excellent. Maybe not. Maybe you're looking to go to college and get a 9 to 5 and live off of that, then retire. And that's really unfortunate. See, as we grow up, we get told, be reasonable, do what people tell you. No, I'm not telling you not to go to college. All I'm telling you is that you don't necessarily have to. See, when we think of great people, we put them up on a pedestal. And while that's appropriate in certain circumstances when it comes to admiring them, it tends to be a huge hindrance. Let's take Martin Luther King, for example. And you might be thinking as I begin to say this, are you actually comparing yourself to Martin Luther King? Yes, I am, and you should too. See, he was a guy just like you. Think about you right now. In high school, you're a teenager. And what are you doing? You're doing what a teenager does. You're thinking about school, you're thinking about relationships, you're thinking about how you're gonna plan your life post-high school. Let's be honest, you're smoking weed. And then here we have Martin Luther King. He was a person just like you at one point. He was this guy in high school, in probably much the same place you are. And look at where he went. See, there's several things to be admired about him. I'm not trying to trash him in any way. I'm just saying, you and I have excellent things about us. Things that are super admirable, and we also have things that people just look at us and they hate us for them. And that applied to him too. Look, he was a man who, in a lot of senses, single-handedly changed the nature of this country. He was a man who looked at a society that saw him as no different than an animal and changed the perception of him into someone who's one of the most important figures in American history at this point. He was also a plagiarist. A lot of his work was completely unoriginal, stolen off of other people. He was also unfaithful to his wife. As much as we can admire Martin Luther King the legend, we have to accept Martin Luther King the human. And that doesn't diminish anything amazing he did in any way. All that shows is that you have the same potential. See, when he was in a society that told him, what do you mean black people should have the same rights as everyone else? What do you mean humans should have human rights? Be reasonable. That's not how things are. Be reasonable. That's not how things work at this time. He was like, well, changing it is pretty unreasonable, but that's not gonna stop me. And sure, maybe that exact conversation never actually happened. But the point is, the society of the time saw it that way. Change was not possible, and that viewpoint hasn't changed. The society may have changed, but that's only because of the simple fact that that man stood up and said no. Listen, whatever it is that you actually want to do, and everyone has something that they actually want to do. You might want to write a book, you might want to paint, you might want to sing, you might want to make movies, you might want to whatever. You might want to do whatever. You have a pedestal that you, in some part of your brain, imagine yourself on, and you want to get there. And you might feel as though, I want to go there, but my friends don't like it because we see things differently, or my parents would rather I abandon my own task and proceed in their image, or my ideas are incompatible with the society of the time. Listen, there can be 1,000 things hindering you, but the point is, they only hinder you up here. There's plenty of rules set up that you have to follow, and I make it a point that I only follow a rule if it makes sense up here. You and I both have brains in our heads, and they're there for a reason. We think with them. We decide what we will and will not do with them. And personally, I refuse to follow a rule if I can't myself find a good reason for doing so. Here's a true story. I'm not making this up. My high school gave me a punishment of community service because I had a meme on my phone of the vice principal. There was text that said, "Hi, my name is Mr. Redacted." He has his privacy, I have mine. Want to read my Billie Eilish smut fanfic? Listen, I can see why you'd be upset about that, but punishing me, in my mind, is ridiculous. Perhaps it's not in yours. It's obviously not ridiculous in his mind. He did it. And while I'm not going to go out asking for trouble, shoving a meme in his face saying, look at this, in my own mind, that punishment's ridiculous. That rule is ridiculous. And yeah, that's not on the same pedestal as what I'm about to compare it to. It's so trivial, but the same exact logic applies. When Martin Luther King lived in a time when humans were oppressed, how do you think people looked at him with what he said? Who is this fucking idiot? How dare he? Anyone with 2 eyes and a brain can look at him and see that he's completely wrong. Look at this entire world. Does anyone in this world think the same way as he does? And what I'm here saying is that anyone who makes their decisions based on popularity is making a huge mistake. No one who ever meant anything did so by doing the same thing as everyone else. The only way change is made is through something that was never done before. Ideas that no one ever thought of before. Things that no one ever became before that you want to become. And you and every last person have ideas like that. And here I was talking about the coronavirus. I jumped all around in this video, but here's my one point. You're free, okay? You're completely free to do whatever you want, no matter what anyone says. And not only are you free, but you've got the ability to do whatever you want with that freedom. And I know what you're thinking right now. Yeah, no shit. Maybe that's just me doubting my own speaking skills. But I'm just pointing out the implications of what I just said. You're more free now than you ever were before. You don't have school, except maybe a few video calls every day. You don't have work, except maybe some work at home, which is far less taxing than it would be at your actual job. You don't have friends to hang out with. Okay, that one kind of sucks, but it can be a plus as well. My point is, whatever excuse you're making, there's a virus going around right now. Unless you have it, you've lost all privileges to making that excuse. So whatever it is that you truly want to be, or whatever you truly want to do it right now. You have no excuse. And if you don't do it, you should feel pretty bad. But yeah, I'm hoping that sounded good. I'm hoping that helps some people. All that really was just me speaking my mind. If you enjoyed hearing my thoughts, give me a follow. If not, don't. You have the freedom to do that. But yeah, either way, I must have said something to keep your attention for this long. So whatever your view on this is, thanks for sticking with it for this long.